Welcome back to Bear Cave Ranch. This is now take 4 of this video. I messed up the first one. I sneezed in the second one and hit the stop button. And the third one, I dropped the phone halfway through and it was recording upside down. Anyway, this is our update on solar power. Yes, the shop is still a mess. I just haven't gotten in here to do it yet. Okay, so let's cover first the basic components of solar. We have panels. You notice I have 2 pointing up. That's because it catches the daytime sun better now in the winter than those angles. And for the early morning, we drop that one down. Anyway, you have solar panels. They are all wired a certain way. They come in and they connect to this. This is a charge controller. And then from there you have 2 things. There's 2 wires that come over to the batteries. There's 2 other terminals. There's nothing hooked up to those right now. That will let you run a load straight off the panels, not using batteries. So only when there's sun. Obviously we don't have that hooked up right now. We'll get into that in a minute. From the charge controller, you're charging your batteries. If you have anything DC powered, you could just hook them straight to your batteries. Or if you need AC power, use an inverter. They connect in the back. You can plug things in. And there. I have that set to show the wattage that's drawing, which nothing because we're not using any power right now. So I want to get some information out there that is handy. We've been learning a lot. The problem is, if you go online, there's information everywhere. Some of it's good, some of it's bad. It's just really hard to filter through and get the right answers as far as what you need. In fact, even calling. If you call, we called Renogy because we were looking at getting their panels. Very friendly, good customer service. All based in the United States, which is awesome. But, you know, their question is, let's go through the power draw of every one of your appliances. And we were doing all this before we had anything, so we didn't even know what we would have. So if you don't know what you have, really the answer is you're going to start small and upscale it as you see that you need. So just be prepared for that. Some other things that they don't really tell you is efficiency loss. Your panels, even on a good day with full sun at the right angles, each 100-watt panel is probably actually doing 80 to 90 watts. So you lose some there. Your inverter, you lose some efficiency there, about 10-20%. And the way this is running, because it was easier at the time, inside of our main trailer where all this ends up going to, there's a converter that converts some of that power from AC back to DC. If we had built from scratch, we could have separated and ran some things straight off of the batteries or the panels, and that would keep us from losing. So we're losing 10% there, maybe 20%, give or take. Another 10% in the trailer, and at least 10% here. So we're losing at least 30% of our power. And that's what gets difficult to gauge. And also with sun, they kind of go with regions, and you know, you average this much over the year, but you know, we have an average of 10 hours of sunlight 300 days a year in this area, but there's 3 or 4 days where the sun doesn't come out. So the way you make up for all that is with a larger battery bank. So our kind of mistake, or something we kind of knew, but we didn't know how it would affect us. And these are pretty small batteries. They are 12 volt, but their capacity is pretty small. Those are 35 amp hours. These are like 39. In hindsight, we thought having more batteries would be good. Having 200 amp hour batteries would have given us more capacity than we have now, and we would have spent about the same, or maybe even a few dollars less. Lesson learned. So if you've watched our other videos, you kind of know our budgeting technique here is we live with as little as possible and then try to fill in the gaps to meet the needs, and we have a need. So some work will need to be done to get some money to get that built up. So we won't buy these small cheap batteries anymore. We will save up and buy good batteries of at least 100 amp hours and start filling in all this section. So eventually we want to have, a week's worth of power and not be limited. Right now we can't have a freezer. We don't have enough power capacity to run a freezer all the time. So we need to make up for that with batteries. Another thing that we do need to do is get those onto a rack on a pole that goes up in the sky. So you can have all 4 of them facing the sun. It's easy to adjust and move. That costs money. That is 100% scrap wood that we already had, so that cost us nothing, which worked out well at the time, and it's still working, but it could be better, so that's going to improve. So that's the long and short of it. You get a lot of loss. And then I talked to a guy a while back. He's got like 600 amp hours worth of battery, and I've got 150 roughly, and he can't get his to last. But he's got like 2 35 watt panels, so he's never getting a good charge. So there's kind of a balance there. The key is you're charging batteries, so you need enough panels that will charge your batteries. And during the day, the way this is wired up currently, we're pulling power from those batteries and charging them at the same time, continuously. We're going to play with some wiring so that when there's sun, the inverter will be pulling power straight from the panels, and they will be charging the batteries, but the batteries themselves won't be used until night or when there's no sun. Something we're going to play with and see. It's supposed to be way better, and it sounds like it will be. So, beyond just how that's set up, some lessons we've learned. Focus more on your batteries. You can start with a 100 watt solar panel and 1 battery. The charge controller, our charge controller, will work with up to a 400 watt system like this. If we want to add more panels, we just have to wire in a second charge controller. So we did make sure that it's expandable in that regard, and it is. So at some point in time, we'll probably double this, have 800 watts all up on a rack. Maybe even more. We'll have a huge battery bank. It just takes time to build up. I know one of our viewers that also follows us on Facebook, I mentioned having like 1,000 amp hours, but it took 10 years to build up to that, so it takes time. So some other things is budgeting your power. So rather than using your power, getting a bill, and figuring out how to pay for it, you have a set amount of power you can use, and that's going to change a little bit throughout the year. Now that our days are a lot shorter and getting even more shorter, it's only October. You know, we've cut down from like 14 hours to 10 or 11 hours, and I mean, soon we're going to have only like 6 to 8 hours of sun on sunny days. So you get just a little bit of cloud cover, and it really drops how much power you're putting back into those batteries. So key, I guess, things that we do. One, we try to use the power during the day. Right now we run our fridge during the day. We turn it off at night. It stays cold enough overnight, not a problem. But that's one of probably our biggest draw, is that fridge. And it's a small fridge, but that helps. We try to keep our devices, laptop, tablet, things like that, charging during the day. We do use those. That's our only entertainment at night. We don't have TV. We don't watch TV. We do stream movies and TV shows, and we use that, or we use the DVD player in the computer. So we want those charged up during the day so that at night, when we're done, we can kind of get in and lay back and watch. We also did a video several months ago on backup power, and one of those things was the solar generator. It's a little box with batteries. It's got lights that plug into it, and in fact, there's the little solar panel in the window of our bedroom. So it just stays there, and at night, that one light in our bedroom gives us all the light we need. So we don't need to run the lights in the trailer, unless maybe we get up in the middle of the night and want to be able to see, which is pretty rare. We may turn on this outside light if we come out and it's dark, but typically not. Usually we just grab the flashlight. So we know as the days get shorter, our power's getting limited. We can put some into getting this thing better, and we will. But as we're doing that, we're also learning how to treat our power the same way we treat our dollars, which is to budget ahead of time. So when we wake up, you know, we get coffee going and that type of stuff, which is all stovetop, no power draw there. We can get things plugged in to start charging. A little bit later, we charge some other stuff, have that fridge running through the day, and then probably within the next, that's where the sun is, so probably in the next 30 minutes or so, we're going to kick that fridge off. And that way there's no power draw and our batteries can charge all the way up. And starting tonight, we're going to come in here and turn this inverter off. Make a note of where the charge is. 13.8 is going to be the max charge on it. And see if it's drained at all through the night. Right now, somewhere around 3, 4 in the morning, it's dying, and we're not sure why. I think it's the inverter doing it. So, in fact, I think I'll unplug the trailer, leave the inverter on, and see how much that's actually pulling on its own. It is getting cold at night, and that's affecting it as well. But that's why they're now inside, so that'll help. In any case, that's our update on solar power. We've been learning some things. And I knew we would. We just got frustrated with the information out there and decided, hey, let's jump in and do it. And we did. It's worked well, but not perfectly, and we're just going to continue improving it. Stay tuned for more exciting updates. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and definitely comment if you have experience with solar or wind power. We are interested in adding that here in the future. Every day there's at least some type of breeze here, so it'd be good. Just catch a nice little view again. Lots of tractor tracks all through here. Spent a good part of the day. We had this area with sagebrush, and we kind of made a rock garden because it was full of rocks already. Well, we've torn that out, and we're getting this kind of cleared and leveled a little bit more before the snow hits, hopefully, to make it nice. Anyway, share your experiences and share the video with friends and family, and we will see you next time.